Welcome back, everybody. I'm Brian Logan, along with my co host, the beautiful Ashley Logan. And this used to be the Can of Corn Show.
Yeah, it sounded like a grocery store show.
So, with that being said, she made me change the name. So, the new name of the show is Married with Baseball. Do you like that a lot better, honey?
Yeah, it'll work.
So we had to change the name. Can of Corn Show was just not cutting it. Even though the can of corn comes from a pop fly easy out into the outfield for, where it's easy to catch the ball.
I get that, but it reminds me of a grocery store.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've got an exciting show for you today. It's called A Guy, a Girl, and Baseball. I tell you what, we're going to talk about this year. Several teams are performing above expectations, and we're going to take a look at 4 of those teams.
Yay. I like the number 1 team.
All right, without a doubt, let's start. The number 1 team is the Chicago Cubs, who are playing well above their expectations. Dansby Swanson is the new cornerstone of the Cubs at 29 years old. First round overall pick, and he hit 25 home runs last year.
And he's a pretty boy.
Yeah, you like him? You think he's pretty?
Yeah, he's pretty.
Well, that helps. That helps you play baseball. But also with Dansby Swanson, we have Cody Bellinger. He was a low-risk free agency, a former MVP, and he is very good defensively with an offensive upside. What's your thoughts on Belly?
Belly is great. He's great in the outfield. He's great at bat. You can almost guarantee he'll get on base. He's really good. I enjoy watching him.
Yeah, he's made some critical catches over the past few games. With the against the Dodgers to start with in Chicago in a couple of series before where we're at now.
Yeah,
so, and he's hit a couple of dingers for us.
Yes, and I got fished today or yesterday. I guess, or scammed is the word.
You did?
Yeah, a report came out that the Yankees were looking at Belly.
Right.
And it was on Google, and of course, I didn't check the source or anything, so I had to message a friend and find out that that's an old story. I don't know why Google gave it to me, but it scared the living daylights out of me.
Well, it seems like Belly is going to be there to stay for now.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. He's very exciting. I like to watch him, and he's really seemed to help the team a lot. As well as Tucker Barnhart, who is platooning with Yan Gomes. Tucker Barnhart, catcher, of course, and I think he's doing a great job.
Doing a great job, and he filled in when Yan got hit in the head with the bat. And they had to take him out. He wasn't under concussion protocol, but they were watching him.
Right.
So Tucker took over.
Yeah, and a good guy to fill in for. But, yeah, Yan Gomes getting a little nick in the head there. He had that far away look in his eyes. They don't think he had a concussion, but something was definitely up.
It snapped his neck.
Yeah, I mean, it did a little something. I mean, it definitely didn't feel good, and they had to take him out immediately.
Well, and it scared me. I mean, when it comes to my Chicago Cubs, I get scared really easily. And he did. He scared me. I thought, oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, we need to stay healthy. That's one thing we've done so far, knock on wood, and we definitely need to, stay healthy as long as we can. I mean, bumps and bruises are inevitable throughout the season, but if we can stay healthy and play above what we are expected to play, then
that would be wonderful.
Yeah, then we're gonna do okay this year. 2 others stand out is Eric Hosmer and Trey Mancini playing third base and first base respectively. Both of those guys are showing up and showing out and really adding to the ball club.
Right, and I hadn't paid much attention to them until this past week because I get nervous with newer guys because I wonder if they're going to stick and stay healthy and all that. But they're sticking. They're doing good. They're hanging in there. We'll see where it goes.
Well, yeah, they're not standout players as like a Cody Bellinger or a Dansby Swanson or a Nico Horner.
But they're an honorable mention.
Absolutely, and they're there to fill out the rest of the team and play their positions, and they play their positions very well.
Well, since we lost Rizzo, we need a good first baseman, and Hosmer seems to be doing pretty good.
Oh yeah, I totally like Eric there at first base. I think
He
he's doing
seems comfortable.
seems comfortable, doing a tremendous job. And but the 2022 record of the Cubs was 74-88, and this year they are expected to win 78. What's your thoughts on 78?
I think we can do it if we can stay healthy.
I'd like to see us do a little bit more than
I
78.
would too. I'd like to see us do more like 88.
But Vegas odds say that we're going to win 78 this year.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can stay healthy and keep it going.
Now, in Cubs AAA, I want to take a minute and talk about Christopher Morel. He did not make the starting opening day lineup.
But he will.
But Mastroboni was. What's your thoughts on the fact that Mastroboni, who has been sent down for assignment to AAA, where Christopher Morel is, made the opening day roster, but Morel did not?
Christopher is a happy guy. I mean, we saw him in the Smokies. He would fist bump the kids. He was great. He's just a happy guy. He's happy to be there. You can tell he's happy to play the sport, and he's good at it. And I never understood why they didn't let him join the opening roster. But I think he'll be back.
Well, he is arguably the best hitter in all of baseball. If you take the minor leagues, the major leagues, and whatnot, he's hitting .363 with a slugging percentage of .463 and an OPS of .835. And my question is, if he had not jumped from AA here in Tennessee to the main roster in spring training, saying he would have went up naturally, he would have went from AA to AAA to the main squad. Do you think he would have done better and had a better position instead of jumping from AA straight to the spring training lineup?
Well, evidently David Ross thinks so, that he should have went in that order, or he wouldn't have sent him down to Iowa. Maybe he needs a couple little things tweaked. And you know, Ian Happ got sent down, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah,
to AAA?
Yes.
And that upset me so bad. He's my baby boy. I've watched him from moment one, home run in the majors. I knew the day I watched him he was going to be somebody. And then they send him down to Iowa. And I was like, what in the world are they thinking? But he came back stronger and better, healthier. He's doing a great job. So maybe Christopher Morel can get that kind of experience, tweak a couple things, and come back and be amazing.
Well, it might be a thing where they're just going to try to get him some at-bats down there.
Right.
They want him, obviously, on the team. He's one of the favorites. And it might, I hate to say it this way, but it might be somebody gets hurt and he steps up and claims a spot.
Right.
I mean, I don't want that to happen. But,
no, we don't want anybody to get hurt.
But that's about how that would go.
Right.
We're with Suzuki and Happ and Belly. Velasquez. We have depth in the outfield.
I think that's the problem. We've got so many outfielders, we had to put him somewhere. And in AAA right now, obviously he's doing a bang job, literally.
Right.
And he can help it out when the time comes.
Right. So we'll be watching for Christopher Morel coming up. Let's take a look at the second team of this year is the Minnesota Twins. Carlos Carrera is back after a back injury that plagued him in the offseason, where the Twins actually released him and then signed him back just months later. So he's back in the lineup. That's helping out a lot. Joey Gallo is on a 1-year deal. He's had 25 home runs in 2021. Now, that's not too long ago. That's not yesterday. He used to be with the Texas Rangers, and Joey Gallo has the potential to really produce. But another standout star is Michael A. Taylor, who is great on defense and is backup for Byron Buxton. And Buxton's a very good hitter, but also Michael Taylor is. What's your thoughts on the Minnesota Twins?
I don't have a lot of experience with the Minnesota Twins. I haven't really watched them. I'm just going to be honest there. But I do know the names. Joey Gallo. I remember the 25 home runs. I remember him doing a good job. I know his name. So obviously I've paid attention to him at one time. Because with my mind, Brian knows how my mind can come and go. I forget things. I forgot something last week on the show. But I know the name, so that he must have piqued my interest at some point. Michael A. Taylor, I know who Michael A. Taylor is. And he's a great player. He's a very good player, and he's a good hitter. So while I don't know the Twins, I do know those two names. Now, the first name, Carlos Carrera, I don't know who that is.
Well, like I said, he was dealing with some back issues, and they released him. And then a couple months later, they decided they made a mistake, and they re-signed him, and now he's doing a great job for them.
Well, obviously they figured something out, or he figured something out and figured out a way to get back. But that's insane.
That is. I mean, that's wild.
Why would you let him go? Why not just put him on an injured list and put him through rehab?
Right. Well, that's what makes the story interesting, is why they decided to do that. And then the fact that they admitted they were wrong and re-signed him. I mean, that's good that they did that. Not a lot of teams will do that. Will say, hey, we made a mistake. We need you to come back.
No, they don't want to admit they made a mistake.
Well, of course not. They're infallible. But the Twins were 78 and 84 in 2022, and they're expected to win 82 this year.
Okay.
So Vegas has them at 82 wins this year, which would put them in hopefully first place in that division. But that division is kind of a weak division. I'm just going to go right out and say it.
Well, I don't know much about that division. I'm not a big American League baseball girl. I'm huge National League. American League, I don't know. There's something about the American League I don't like. Number one, Toronto.
Yeah.
I don't like that Canada is in the American League. Why would you put Canada in the American League? I don't like it.
Well, can't Canada play ball too?
Yeah, but in another league that's not American. I mean, we're talking American League, but yet we have Canada in it.
Well, yeah, we do. We used to have a couple of Canada teams, but we're down to one. First, it was Pittsburgh last week. Now it's all of Canada this week.
Well, you know, I have strong opinions on some things, and I have no filter. So,
all right. Well, let's move on over to team number 3, the San Diego Padres. There's a lot here with the San Diego Padres.
Sure is.
They're coming off a good season last year, having been in the NLCS against the Dodgers and put the Dodgers out, and they're looking to build on that for this year.
Right, and I hate to tell some people, I know I'd hurt at least one person in particular's feelings, but I'm really starting to dig the Padres.
Are you really?
Yes, I am. They're doing really well, I think.
They are. They're playing at top form. Juan Soto and
Great players.
Great player Tatis Jr., who's coming off of the performance enhancing drug scandal.
Which Brian accuses me of when we play baseball on the Nintendo because I like to eat candy while we play.
Yeah.
So I'm a big performance enhancer. Go for it. But he got in trouble.
She uses sugar to give her the edge in that game, and I think it should be banned. And we're talking to the committee to see what is said. But anyway, back to San Diego. They got Manny Machado, of course, as their standout star.
I mean, he's a powerhouse. He's good.
And then Xander Bogaerts has really impressed me these past couple of series with the Padres.
Yes, they're all great players. The Padres are doing very well. I see that last year they were 89-73, and they're expected to win 94.
94 is what Vegas has.
I mean, that is crazy. I mean, I know Dodgers. What did Dodgers do that one year? 101 or 107 or something like that.
It was over 100. Yeah. They had over 100.
I wonder if anybody can do that this year.
Well, I'm sure some of the teams will be. Yeah, there'll be a team or two that's over 100. Absolutely.
I hope it's not the Pirates.
I hope it's not the Pirates either. But we'll see. They're playing great, too. But the Padres faced off against the Giants in Mexico City, and that was a great series. I really enjoyed watching that.
It really was. It was a fun series. The ballpark looked very good. I mean, it was no different than any of the other ballparks we've seen. It was pretty. It was well laid out. What I liked most about it was the music.
Yeah, you like this.
I liked the Mexican music. Instead of playing music, the rap music or, the Chargent music and stuff like that, they played Mexican music, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they had mariachi bands all over the place.
Yeah, and the Mexicans loved that game.
Oh, they were definitely
they were
excited.
So into it and so excited and jumping up and down and trying to catch foul balls, and it was a great little couple of days.
There had been games in previous years in Monterey, and I can't remember all the teams that played. I think there was 3 series in Mexico in Monterey. I know the Padres played one of them. But being in Mexico City, being in the capital, being at the new ballpark, it was really something special.
Yes, it was very cool.
It was something that the fans got behind, the local kids got behind. The fans really turned out wearing their Padres gear, and it was you could tell that it was billed as a home game, and it was a home game for them, even though it was not in San Diego.
Right.
But the Padres faced the Giants, as we said. There was a slow start, but it was jolted alive in the heat of Mexico. Manny Machado hit 2 home runs in Game 1, and 5 Padres went deep in Game 1 for the 16-11 victory. Home runs were flying out everywhere. Now, a lot of that has to do with the high altitude.
Right.
So the balls would fly, due to that. But there was some knocks, man. They were really hitting them out left and right.
Yeah, they were.
So both teams combined for 11 home runs, only 2 short of the 2019 record set by the D-backs and the Phillies. So they almost set an all-time record for most home runs.
Wouldn't that have been awesome?
It really would have been awesome. I mean, I kind of hate that they didn't hit them.
Right.
They didn't mention that in the game. That came out later. That was a stat that was later mentioned.
Right.
But that would have been incredible to see them hit 2 more. But, I mean, they hit plenty. Don't get me wrong. Pitcher for the Giants, Joe Musgrave, was quoted as saying, "I can't say I love playing here, but that was one of the funnest games I've ever been a part of."
That's wonderful.
Of course, he had problems because the first 5 hitters launched home runs on him. He gave up 7 runs in 3 1/3 innings.
Whoops.
Yep. I mean, that'll do it. He had a rough night there. He got acquainted with the air, so to speak, very quickly.
Right.
But Cruz's third inning blast, he became the oldest player to hit a home run in franchise history, and the record was formerly set by Ricky Henderson. He was in his mid-40s when he hit the blast.
I am a year over my mid-40s, and I could not imagine having to play games every day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it just goes to show what shape he's in.
He must be in extremely good shape, because that would be hard. For those of you that don't know, your body changes at 40. And you start to get the aches and the pains and the arthritis and all that good crap. And I just don't know how he does it. I mean, that's amazing.
Well, and he's one of the factors, not just with, some of these other players, Soto, Tatis, and Machado, and Bogarts. I mean, he's in there with those guys. His name is right up there with them.
Absolutely.
And was a big part of that game, that whole series in Mexico.
Now, I do want to talk about Tatis for just a minute. He made some incredible catches this past week.
Yeah.
He did a good job. He's really good at what he does.
Well, he just made a mistake. I mean, it happened.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not talking about that anymore. I mean, it happened. He paid his dues, or his penalty, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And let's move on.
Yeah.
And he's a great player.
And he picked up right where he left off, and, he's been playing great.
Yeah. And with that said, I'm going to go off into left field for 1 second.
Okay, go ahead.
Pete Rose has paid his dues too. Well, for God's sake, bring Pete back into the league and give him the Hall of Fame he deserves.
Absolutely. We like going off on a tangent, but we're always free Pete Rose.
Well, it might be because we actually had dinner with him.
Well, yeah, that's another story for another time. Tom Cosgrove's win in his debut by retiring Jock Peterson in the top of the seventh, just before Machado hit his home run shot, was the tail of the tape, so to speak, there in the game.
Well, Jock Peterson is a great hitter, and to have gotten him out was great, but then you have to deal with Machado. You can't get them both. I mean, it's got to be hard to get them both. Machado's great.
Well, Machado was for the Padres, so he was coming up the next inning. Jock was for the Giants. The Padres pitcher who was making his debut got him out, and then when they came up in the next inning,
I gotcha.
Machado hit the home run.
I gotcha.
So
sometimes I slip, guys. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You're still in it. All right, let's move on to our next team, which you've already mentioned a little bit, is the Toronto Blue Jays. They've won 92 in 2002, and they're expecting to win 94 this year. They went 92 and 70 last year, so Vegas has them at 94.
That's a lot.
So with Kevin Killmeyer and Bo Bichette, which is one of my favorite names.
I love Bo Bichette. He's great.
Yeah, that's another pretty boy for you.
Yeah, he is pretty.
But he's a heck of a player. And Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Vlad Guerrero is awesome.
But Toronto faced the Mariners Saturday, April 29th. Easton McGee made his major league debut, and he pitched a no-hitter for 6 2/3 innings. Giving up 6 2/3 innings, giving up 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, 1 base on balls with 64 pitches.
And they took him out.
Wow. I mean, why would they do that? It was one hit. It was 64 pitches. I understand him being, it being his debut. You don't want to overwork him.
But 64 pitches, that's not overworking him.
Exactly. That he could have definitely done 30 more or 20 more or 15 more.
Absolutely. He could have done a Kyle Hendricks.
Yes, without a doubt. And I think it was a bad decision for them to take him out. And the Blue Jays actually won that game 1-0.
Yeah.
So we went from a no-hitter to getting defeated. That's snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah, and that really upset me. I mean, and what I'm talking about with Kyle Hendricks is he pitched a full game with, was it 78 pitches? Or
somewhere in that ballpark.
Somewhere in that ballpark. And I believe that this guy could have made 9 innings.
Well, we when we were watching the game, we saw him sitting on the bench, and he looked concerned a couple of times.
Biting his nails
a little bit, but then he seemed to overcome it and just get out there and get the job done.
He seemed confident on the mound.
He did.
He seemed comfortable and confident. He trusted his catcher. I didn't see him shake him off once. I hate it when they shake off the catcher. Don't shake off the catcher.
Let the catcher call the game.
That's his job.
Yes, let him do his thing, and you just follow suit.
Don't come off that mound either, guys.
So, going off on another tangent real quick, what do you think about the pitch comm being in the pitcher's hats to where they can talk to the catcher and the pitchers can actually call their own games?
I don't like it. It's not their job.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
It's the catcher's job to decide what pitch needs to be pitched.
Yeah, I think
because they're the ones that have studied up on the hitters. That's their job. They have studied the hitters. I'm sure, I can imagine, Jan Gomes probably goes through videos and stats and everything to learn who's coming up that week.
Right.
And that's his job, is to call that game. A pitcher just needs to worry about putting the right pitch where they tell him to put it.
That's right. He should clear his mind and just throw the ball, play catch.
Don't
with
think.
The catcher. Don't think. Just do.
I've heard that a million times. When you're a pitcher, don't think. Thinking is the worst thing you can do.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on over. Going back to the American League, let's talk about Oakland Athletics and their negative 100-run differential. The Major League record came in an 18-3 loss to the Texas Rangers. The A's just aren't a competitive team anymore. It's the worst run differential in 21 games in the history of MLB.
Wow.
The A's have no franchise players to speak of, and their statistics are rock bottom in every pitching staff.
That's sad.
It is sad. It is the disintegration of a ball club.
I don't know much about the A's. I don't know the players on the A's.
Well, nobody does.
Well, if they're losing, nobody cares. But I do know back in the day, Brian was watching some YouTube videos when I got home from work. They were talking about the A's and how they were doing good and they had memorable players.
Reggie Jackson used to play for them.
Yes. So
Ricky Henderson.
Right. So that's sad. That's sad to think that they used to be, up there and now they're down on the...
Yeah, there were years where the Athletics were competitive and they went to the World Series and won World Series, and they, were a popular team. They're not even drawing. I
remember being popular. I might have been middle school,
right?
Maybe, but my mind, I can't think of.
Well, that would have been the late '80s, mid '90s.
Mm-hmm. No, I graduated in 95, so it would have been probably late 80s.
Okay. All right. Well, they had some good teams back then. But the big question is, are the Oakland Athletics moving to Las Vegas?
I would love that. I'm just going to be honest. I love Vegas. We go to Vegas. We try to go to Vegas once a year for Brian's wrestling reunion, the Cauliflower Alley. And I would love to be able to go to Cauliflower Alley and take off and watch a ball game.
Wouldn't that be great to be out
That
there?
would be my dream.
Yeah, I mean, that's our vacation go-to spot, and while we're out there, we
Watch a ball game.
watch a ball game. I mean,
Maybe we would even get lucky enough that they play somebody we really like.
yeah, absolutely. Go out there, see the Cubs play,
Or the Braves or the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we play the A's that much.
Well, this year every
Teams playing every team
twice. So it'd be a series there and a series at home.
Right.
So, and I really like that. I like that a lot because I didn't like interleague play because it seemed like we were playing the same teams
Over and over again.
But this interleague play is great. Two, one there, one here works out awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I got sick of seeing the Brewers. Cubs played the Brewers all the time. I got sick of seeing the Pirates. I got sick of seeing the Cardinals. We played the same teams over and over and over again, and it gets boring after a while. You get mad. I don't know.
You need a variety.
Yes.
And then it makes, speaking of the Cubs, it makes series like against LA where we played them early and got that series over with even more special because that's the only time you're going to see them. You see them in April and you're not going to see them for the rest of the year.
Yep.
So it makes it very, very special. So, chances are, rumors are true, chances are that they will be moving to Las Vegas.
That'll make me more interested in them. That'll definitely make me watch them a little more, just to see what they do when they move to Vegas. Maybe they can restructure the team, get them some good players, and get back up there into the ball game. When the Raiders, was it the Raiders that moved to Vegas?
Yes.
I gave them a shot too.
Right.
And if a team's going to Vegas, I'm going to pay attention to them.
Right.
Because I love Vegas.
Right. Well, hopefully they move there, and hopefully we will be seeing them play there in the near future. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about Missouri for a minute. Fans, have you seen Cam Chick's catch for Missouri State? Or I don't know if it's Missouri State or Missouri College, but it was for Missouri. Mm-hmm. It was probably the greatest catch ever, and that's what they're saying. It came down, it bounced off his glove, it rolled on his back as he dove, it came back across and ran down, and he barehanded it.
Yeah.
It was amazing. If you have not seen this, then Google Cam Chick's catch. It's incredible.
What made it incredible? I watched the video, and my first thought was, I know if it doesn't touch the grass, you're good, right?
Correct.
But I don't know. That catch bothered me for some reason because it went across his back.
You didn't like it?
The ball should go into the glove.
Well, he missed it.
I know.
And then it was...
He missed it, and then it went around his neck.
Yeah.
And he barehanded it.
And it was miraculous. All right.
I don't know. It was a cool catch. Don't get me wrong. It was cool.
But you don't know if
it's
great.
I don't know if it's great or even legal.
Okay. Well, I think it's definitely legal because they called him out.
So.
And the ball didn't touch the ground. So it'd be the same as if it came out of the glove and hit your chest and went back in the glove.
I guess.
So, but anyway, if you have a chance, Google Cam Chick catch.
It's definitely worth watching.
Yes, it's a short clip. It's him diving after the ball, but take a look at that and you decide for yourself and let us know.
Let me know. Was it incredible or not?
Yeah, we'll give you the emails and everything later on in the show, and you can let us know what you thought, if it was the greatest catch or not. Clayton Kershaw's 200th win on April 18th, 2023. His fastball slider combo and the 12-6 curve offense. He's currently at 202 wins. What do you think about Kershaw?
I like Clayton.
I do too.
He's a good guy. I mean, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a great pitcher. Wonderful pitcher.
Is he the greatest pitcher of all time?
How far back are we going for all time?
All, period, everybody. A lot of folks are saying that he is the greatest pitcher ever.
Well, what about Babe Ruth?
Well, what about him? Is he better than Babe Ruth? The numbers would say yes.
Maybe. I mean,
in the past 7 games, he's been 5-1 with a 1.89 ERA. He's pitched 38 innings, given up 24 hits with 8 earned runs, 41 strikeouts, and only 5 bases on balls with a whip of 0.76.
Well, that's all great numbers, but here's my argument, and this is my argument for a lot of sports. Could he have played a full game like Babe Ruth did almost every night?
Well, no, he couldn't, because the athleticism is different now and the game is different. It's a faster pace.
I think he's the best one in the modern era.
Okay, that's fair enough.
But when you start saying all time, you know, the game was different in 1920 and all that. You know, they played a lot more. I mean, we didn't have restrictions on pitchers and all that back then.
Well, that's true. That's true. Sassel Paige didn't even know how many innings he had pitched, because he would go barnstorming and play 4 games in a day sometimes.
Right. And what about Vida Blue?
And Vida Blue. Yes. Is Clayton Kershaw better than Vida Blue? Yeah, the numbers say yes, but is he?
I don't know. That's a hard one.
And is the greatest pitcher ever subject to your own opinions of what you like and what you dislike? I mean, your greatest pitcher might not be my greatest pitcher.
Well, speaking of pitchers, I'm going to go off again over to the side here. Schwarzer.
Yeah.
Max Schwarzer.
Yeah.
I watched a video on him today. We all know he got caught with illegal substance on his hands and got in trouble. But I watched this video. Is he a psychopath?
Wow, is he?
That was interesting. I don't know. There's some crazy things about him. Evidently, it's well known that his brother committed suicide. Max went straight home to help his family. But then the next day, I believe it was the next day, it might have been 2 days, he came back and brought his family with him and said that he was going to pitch that game because that was the best way for the family to heal.
Right.
And it might have been. I don't know. It might have been. He pitched all right. It wasn't his best game. He wasn't too happy with himself about it. But then he never spoke of his brother again.
Yeah,
he won't talk about him. If he's brought up, he won't talk about him. But it was also talking about how he gets into fights with his own players, and he likes to throw stuff, and he gets very physical, and his grunts and groans when he pitches. And it was a very interesting video. It's on YouTube. Is Max Schwarzer a psychopath?
Well, take a look at that. I mean, it is compelling. I listened to it, and there's a good argument there. Is he just highly competitive, or is he a complete psycho? I don't know. Watch that video, and you can let us know about that, too. Let us know your opinion on if you're pro or against Max Scherzer. All right.
Another Max.
Want to before we end up moving on, Clayton Kershaw is the NL Pitcher of the Month.
Awesome.
And while we're talking about Dodgers, Outman is the National League Rookie of the Month of April.
He deserves that.
He absolutely does deserve it. We talked about him last week. He's doing great. This week was no different. And he definitely is the Rookie of the Month.
He might be the Rookie of the Year.
He very well could be the Rookie of the Year.
Stay healthy, Outman. Keep doing what you're doing. Just keep your eye on the prize, and I believe you could be the Rookie of the Year.
I agree. I totally agree. Also, talking about the Dodgers, Max Muncy, that funky Muncy, is leading the league with 11 home runs. He's batting .238 with .643 slugging, 22 RBIs, and he's one of those guys that's got one stolen base because of the new rules. What's your thoughts on Max Muncy?
Well, first of all, Max, that stolen base amazes me because he's not a little boy. You know, he's a man. He's a brawny man.
Right, absolutely.
So you don't see a lot of the brawny men stealing bases because they're a little too heavy,
right,
a little too muscular.
Right. Got a little junk.
Yes. So that amazed me. 22 RBIs is wonderful for this time of year. He's a really good powerhouse player. He's good at hitting home runs. He knows what he's doing. He knows what to look for. And from what I've seen, he's got a good eye at the plate.
Definitely a good eye at the plate. But it's great that he's leading the league in home runs, and I love watching him. But again, we're back to the same question. Can the Dodgers win without hitting the long ball? Now, the past two nights, they've scored 13 runs each night. Mm-hmm. Now, they've small balled and big balled.
Yeah.
So is that them turning the page? Or,
might be.
You know, I don't know either. I mean,
I don't know.
We'll have to find out, I guess.
Yeah. And I did want to go back before we close this out. Last week, I could not remember the pitcher's name that pitched that Pirate game that upset me.
Right.
It was John Lackey, but it wasn't John Lackey. I thought it was. It was John Lester.
Right.
And they scored 10 runs in the first inning. And I remember that game so well because I had just had my back surgery. I was watching that game, needing some good news, needing to feel good. And in the first freaking inning, it went to hell in a handbasket. And it really upset me.
Yeah. No.
I remember turning on. You weren't with me. I was watching it by myself.
Right.
I don't think you had gotten up yet.
Okay.
But it upset me so much. So that's another reason why the Pirates aggravate me. But anyway, I just wanted to clear that up from last week.
Well, yeah, we couldn't remember who it was. John Lackey was who we thought it was. Turns out it was John Lester, and it was 10 points in an inning and not 20.
Well, the final score was close.
It was close. It was very close, but it wasn't 20.
Okay, honey.
So, all right. Well, guys, we have reached the end of another podcast. If you want to find us on Twitter, you can find Ashley at TNAshes77, and also you can find myself at Logan's World Bry. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and on the web at Married with Baseball, and of course marriedwithbaseball.com. And also we are announcing that we have a Patreon starting this week. We're going to go into extra innings, and the extra innings will be on Patreon. It is a paid subscription. It's $3, but we're going to go into extra innings about different topics, anything from aliens to football to movies to special moments. just anything that we can add extra.
Right. And as far as Facebook, if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Ashley Stowers-Logan. Stowers.
And of course, I'm Brian Logan on Facebook. And again, everything is Married with Baseball. And if you want to email us and tell us about some things, things that you like, or answer some of the questions that we post on the question, tell us on the show, tell us your opinions or ask us a question.
Or be mad at me.
Whatever. You can email us at marriedwithbaseball@gmail.com. So, fans, that's what we have for this week. Thank you for being with us. It's been a great week for baseball. We'll see you at the ballpark.